Homes have undergone a plethora of changes over time. Imagine living in an era when your dinner was delivered directly to you through small elevators. Some of these features might even be in your house. Perhaps you've heard your grandparents or parents mention some of them. Let's dive in. Pictures have been a part of home decorations for many years. Picture rails were a stylish and clever way to hang pictures in old houses. These strips of molding ran across the walls of the house just below the ceiling. Homeowners would use wires and hooks to hang pictures from these rails. These rails gained popularity, especially in the early 20th century, as they were really helpful and did not require people to drill holes in their easily damaged plaster walls. Have you ever used picture rails? Ever wondered how people kept their food cold before the invention of electronic refrigerators? Ice boxes were a standard or essential household necessity used to keep the food cold before the invention of electronic refrigerators. Also known as cold closets, these mechanical refrigerator systems gained popularity in the 20th century. An icebox functioned by placing a huge block of ice in a compartment at the top. The cold air from the ice would then circulate down to keep the food in the lower sections cool. Typically made from metal, materials like tin and zinc lined the hollow walls. These boxes were filled and packed with insulating materials such as straw or cork. The ice often melted and had to be replaced by people. This design of the icebox allowed for longer storage of food without difficulties. Do you happen to have one in your garage or kitchen? Let us know in the comments. Wash basins and pitchers were essential items in homes before indoor plumbing became common. A washstand, typically made of wood like walnut, held these items in place. The washstand was a small table or cabinet with legs designed to accommodate a water pitcher and a wash basin. In the early morning or before bedtime, people used these wash basins and pitchers to freshen up. With the invention of sinks and running water taps, along with the advancements of indoor plumbing, the need for these washstands and pitchers decreased, making them less common in modern houses. Does your kitchen still have one? Or have you heard the stories about the wash basins? Did you know that in the Victorian era, coal chutes were considered essential, especially before electricity took over? Imagine a week's worth of fuel sliding down a metal tunnel into your basement. In the Victoria era, coal chutes were typically considered essential components of a home, particularly before the widespread adoption of electricity. These chutes were usually located in metal foundation walls, featuring a hinge to open an angled tunnel where coal delivery truck drivers could deposit a week's worth of fuel. The coal was then dumped into the basement in a dedicated room with a furnace and stored adjacent to these furnaces. However, for homes without a coal chute, coal was transported in bags or wheelbarrows by workers known as lumpers at the time. In certain homes, a device called the Riley stoker was employed. The Riley stoker assisted in conveying and depositing coal from a hopper to the furnace without the need for manual shoveling. Servants' quarters were special rooms in mostly large-sized houses where the staff lived and worked. These staff rooms were a common feature in houses from the 17th century to the early 20th century. Usually, these quarters were located in the basements and attics of smaller houses, and in larger houses, they were typically in a separate block or area. The idea behind these servant quarters was to keep the workers and labor close to where they were needed, provided them privacy, and also keep them out of sight from the main areas of the house. Servant quarters are important as they give us insight into the lives of less affluent people in the past. If your house is an old building, it might have had one. Ever wonder what that little window at the top of your grandpa's house door was? Curious about its story? Let's figure that out now. In many older buildings, you will find small windows known as transom windows and doors. These windows were used before the invention of air conditioning and heating systems. They gained popularity in the 14th century during the Gothic period and became extremely popular in the 17th century homes. Transom windows were installed in doors to open and allow fresh air into the building, aiding ventilation while maintaining security. Positioned high above the doors, they also let in plenty of light without compromising privacy. These windows were operated using transom operators. Not only were these windows highly practical, but they also added a unique aesthetic to the architectural details of the building. Did your house, especially if it's large, boast a Butlers Pantry in the 19th and 20th centuries? Serving as a hub between the kitchen and dining room, this special space played a crucial role in storing, preparing, and serving meals, while also housing silverware, utensils, and large serving dishes. The Butlers Pantry, located between the kitchen and the dining room, was primarily used for these purposes. Additionally, it served as a place to clean silverware, count items, and even where butlers often slept to keep the items protected. Despite changes over time, butlers' pantries remain integral to many modern homes, frequently utilized for storing items related to dining and serving meals. In the past, food or items were transported between buildings and across different floors using small freight elevators called dumbwaiters. They were typically employed in very large multi-story homes and can still be found in some modern structures, such as schools and restaurants. However, it wasn't until the 1920s that electric motors were added to operate these elevators. Instead, they were manually operated using ropes and pulleys. In the 19th century, the mechanical dumbwaiter was invented by George W. Cannon. These devices were specially designed to be smaller and less capable than typical passenger elevators. Dumbwaiters were used to transport laundry, food, and other items. You might recall seeing one in the Home Alone movies. In older times, before refrigerators were ubiquitous, almost every family had fresh milk delivered to their door whenever needed. This system was popular until the 1950s and 1960s when refrigerators became increasingly introduced into households, allowing people to keep their own food cool. Milk doors were a clever feature used for daily milk deliveries. These small two-way insulated doors were built into the walls of apartments and homes. The milkman would place the milk bottles in these doors from the outside without having to wait for somebody to come and retrieve the milk. This idea came in handy because it also kept the milk safe from thieves and animals. As these doors made the lives of homeowners more convenient, they were a significant innovation back then before supermarkets and refrigeration changed everything. Did your family also have fresh milk delivered to the door when needed in the past? A memory that might evoke nostalgia. How did that feel? Having parlors inside your house was a sign of higher social status in the 18th and 19th century. These parlors were decorated very nicely, and homeowners used these rooms to host their guests and showcase their best pieces of art. These rooms were often utilized for important family events such as weddings and birthdays. The parlor was furnished with comfortable chairs, sofas, and sometimes a piano for music. Over time, parlors evolved and are now known as living rooms in modern houses. Let's quickly move on to the next memory. This one is bound to amaze you. Before paved roads became common, dirt, mud, and filth were abundant on walking pathways, often sticking to people's shoes and dirtying house floors. To address this issue, a small piece of iron with a horizontal bar welded to it was attached to the doorstep of almost every house. When a guest arrived, they would use the horizontal bar to clean their shoes before entering the house. However, with the advent of paved roads made of tar and gravel, the amount of dirt and mud on the roads decreased, rendering these boot scrapers obsolete. Nowadays, mats made of nylon and plastic string are commonly placed on doorsteps to clean the soles of shoes. Ever wondered about the serene charm of outdoor naps, with a gentle breeze wafting through, creating a comfortable atmosphere? Before the 20th century, it was extremely common to sleep on porches. Doctors recommended sleeping outside due to its many health benefits, contributing to its popularity. Unfortunately, with increasing crime rates, the appeal of these serene outdoor naps diminished. This led people to revert to conventional indoor bedrooms. Today, the idea of sleeping on porches is just a relic of the past. While modernization has replaced many iconic elements with their counterparts, a select few still maintain a profound reverence for the historical significance of these home features, preserving them for future generations. Do any of these items take you on a nostalgic trip down memory lane to your childhood? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, please show your support by leaving a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss another exciting video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.